Welcome to our Amud Yomi Shiur every day in Amud of Gemara. We are now in Maseches Kiddushin, Daf Dalid Amud Aleph. The Shiur today is for the Hatzlacha of all the soldiers and all of Klal Yisrael in the south and in the north and everywhere and in Trafalgar Square, and for the Hatzlacha for the Hatzal of all the captured people, the captivated people. Hashem should take them out of Gaza very quickly to bring us Mashiach very, very, very soon. The Shiur's Lil Nishma Sovi Mari Menachem Ben Akiva, Ruth Bas Sholem, today's are your side, and the Ruth and Aviva Bas Moshe, Sor Bas Moshe, the first Chana Batzima, Dina Chaya Bas Giola Rochel, Besoch Shochol Yisol, Chaim Ben Seter, Eric Yitzchok Ben Miriam, Betoch Shochol Yisol. Maski from Mar Baravashi. Welcome to everybody on YouTube and on Torah anytime. Maski from Mar Baravashi. So yesterday we were discussing the reason why does the Torah have to repeat the same thing twice. So it seems it says V'yotzachinam, a girl who should leave her master's house, meaning a maidservant girl who's been sold by her father to be a maidservant. She gets very nice conditions, don't worry about her. And then once she reaches puberty, once she reaches bas mitzvah, automatically she goes out, right? It says V'yotzachinam, her bailim, the owner who bought her, even if he paid for $1 million the day before the release, doesn't get any money back. That's it. He should have known that before. And at the day of her release, she gets released in Kosef. Yeah. Now, but it says twice. It says V'yotzachinam. She goes out for free. Ein Kesef, with no money. Well, free means without no money. So why do you have to repeat the same thing twice? We've been through all kinds of twists and turns. Basically, the Brisa says V'yotzachinam is a naira when she reaches 12, and in Kesef is Bogeres 12 and a half. The Gemara said that's impossible. If she left the house of the Odoin with the age of 12, what's she doing there, which is 12 and a half? There's no such reality. It's not about Kal V'chomer, just no such reality. It's illogical, yeah? So then, what did the Gemara answer? Says Abaye, we're talking about an Elonis, a beggar of Elonis. I'm just reviewing, obviously, yeah? What's an Elonis? An Elonis is a girl who basically never matured as a woman. She doesn't look like a woman. She never, started shaping up in puberty like a woman. She doesn't have hairs, by the way. She does not have. There are different types of sarisim. An Elonis, saris is a male version, like a eunuch, and a girl is an Elonis. There is no two hairs. There are no two hairs. I wasn't sure about it yesterday. And by the way, there are different types of sarisim and Elonis, but that's besides the point. And basically, that girl never grows up. So when that girl reaches the age of 12, we don't know what to do. We're not sure. Maybe she's a late bloomer. Maybe she's an alienist. When she reaches the age of 20, there's a question, 18, 20, we pass on 20, we say now we know that nothing's moving, nothing's going on with her, nothing's developing, and therefore she's called an alienist. So she moved straight from katnus, being a ktana, underage, straight to being a bogeres. Now when she reached 20, now we say that she will go out of the master's reshus, and not before that. That's very good. A regular girl goes when she's 12 by Nairus. An Elonis goes when she's 20. Why? Because when she's 20, that's when we know that she's an Elonis, and that is when we know that's it for sure. It's not like she's not, nothing greater is going to, bigger or better is going to happen with her. By the age of 20, that's a cut-off point when we know she's an Elonis. And as such, she became a bogeres without being a bogeres. She became a bogeres without having the signs of maturity. And at that point, she leaves. So that's why Nairis is for a regular girl, and Bagus is for an Elonis. Says Abai, terrific teretz. So that's why there are two answers. Not two answers. That's why the Torah is to actually point out two different realities, two different cases. For regular girl, Nairus. For an Elonis, Bagus. It's called Bagus. When she reaches 20, then we know all along that she was a bogeres without simonim. Okay, now this is yesterday's stuff. Questions on yesterday. Okay, yeah. Ask if Amar Baravashi. Amar Baravashi is now attacking Abaye. What does he attack? What does he say? Belav kal v'chomer hu. Isn't it a kal v'chomer? Which means, yeah, kal v'chomer is as follows. Uma simonin she'ein motzin mirshus av. Very nice, Ellen. You were right what you said before. If simonin, the two hairs, which I kept calling nairus, right? When a girl is a naira, meaning she has two hairs and she's 12, usually it's together, ein motzin mirshus ab. Simonin is something when a girl reaches the age of 12. You guys tell me after you're so into this year and you read the chart, a girl of 12, is she out of the domain of her father, out of the authority of the father? No. All this chart with all these halachas is an ira. The money belongs to the father. Her salary belongs to the father. That's what Rashi says. And Nedorim, Gittin, everything stays with the father. And yet, Moitzin, Milshus, Odoin, and yet when it comes to the master, we know clearly that the two hairs, the Nairus, takes her out of the domain of the Odoin, takes her out of the hands of the master in case she's a slave, an Amma. Bagrus, Shemotzim Milshusav, what's Bagrus? Which is 12 and a half, or 2 hairs and a half a year later, and that does take her out of the domain of the father. When does a girl become completely independent from her father? When? 12 and a half. All the more so, it should take her out of the domain of the Odon. So you're right, Abaye. You found us a very nice case where Nais and Bagrus are not, it's not mid-air collision, each one on his own. That's a regular, that's what's her name, an alienist. But conceptually, when you compare the two things, Nairus versus Bagrus, it is redundant to talk about Bagrus. Because again, if Nairus, which doesn't take her out of the father, takes her out of the Odon, Bagrus, which takes her out of the father, all the more so takes her out of the domain of the Odon. So why do you have to tell me that Bagrus takes her out of the Odon? Elonis or not Elonis, or the Elonis left shoe? What do you care? Conceptually, Bagrus is redundant. Because why? We can learn it from Kal V'chomer. There's a question here which Gemara will ask later. Therefore, Mar Baravashi says the follows. He's offering an alternative shot. Wow. The Torah is telling me the extra words, I'm following my colleague Zabaye line of Elonis, but I'm saying I have another take on it. It's a chiddush that an Elonis Bichlal can be sold to be a maidservant, can be sold to be an Amma. Wow. Why? One would have thought like that. The Asis Yimeninarus Havis Bina. Since any Amma, any normal Amma goes out how? Goes out with Simonim of Nairus, which is 2 hairs, which is 12, then a girl who has a way out, a normal way out, a regular girl, her sale is a sale. You can sell such a girl who has Simone, who will eventually have Simone Nairus, but a girl, the lo asi Simone Nairus, lo avis binas bina, a girl who will never mature because she will never have Simone Nairus, she will not be a Naira. At some point we'll say, okay, she's just a Bulgaris without being a Bulgaris, she's just over age. Such a girl, maybe she can never be sold. Maybe if there's no way out, there is no way in, right? Kamash Malan that yes. Kamash Malan that an Elonis can be sold. The obvious question which I asked, and then I see Tosis is asking, if we have time, we'll see the Tosis inside, and that is, most of us are not prophets. Maybe you are. I'm not a prophet, I have to admit, yeah? I'm sorry to disappoint anybody. But Lamaisa, how could you tell a girl can be sold at the age of 6, 7, 8? She really knows how to do the sponge very well and look after babies. And then that girl, how do you know if she'll be an Elonis? What do you mean an Elonis can be sold or cannot be sold? How do you know anyways? Right? At the young age, you can't tell. The Tosis brings from other Gemaras, in Yevama, so you don't know if she's going to be an Elonis or not. The Tosis answers that's true, but the question is retroactively. When she reaches the age of 20 and nothing's moving and nothing's happening, then at the age of 20, we can say is the whole deal retroactively revoked. And then the father, of course that's enough kamina. Oh, what do you mean? Obviously, if the sale wasn't a good sale, now that she reached 20, we know that she was not really able to be halachically sold as a maidservant. Says Tosis, you know what's going to happen? The Odon will have to give back all the things she produced to him, all the money, and the Av will give back the money. In other words, the Odon will get back his money, and the father will get back compensation somehow for all the time she worked for no justifiable reason by him. But the Odon will just will retroactively break away everything. Maybe that is Kamash Malan. No, Kamash Malan and Elonis can be sold, and an Elonis, because Bagrus takes her out, which according to Mar Baravashi is not a Chiddush, but he's taking one step further. Because Bagrus of Elonis is Bagrus, therefore, retrospectively, right from the start, her sale was a good sale, and an Elonis can be sold as an Amma. Kamash Malan, next page, V'yotzochinam. That says Yotzochinam and Kesef to tell me both. Frag the Gemore, wait a second. What was Mar Baravashi's claim against Abaye? Malba Avashi said, I'm giving a small introduction. Malba Avashi said, well, what are you talking about Abai? It's a Kal V'chomer. If Simonim take her out, the Nairus, or the more so, the older stage, 12 and a half, for sure takes her out. So why does the Torah have to write it? If you remember well, yesterday's Shiur, at the end of the Shiur, Freg de Gmoe, Malba Avashi, the Omar, Velav Kal V'chomehu. I'm asking now on Malba Avashi, says the Gemara. Malba Avashis, you claimed against Abaye. Why does the Torah write something that's written that can be inferred from Kal V'chomer? Amrinan, we just said a few lines ago, Mil Sadasi b'Kal V'chomer, Torach v'Kosav Lakro. Yeah, a word, a halacha, an issue, a topic that can be learned from Kal V'chomer. The Torah, the Torah Kilu exerts itself. Yeah, the Torah goes into the hassle, tircha, of writing it. No. So why are you claiming, I could have learned it from Kal V'chomer, so the Torah doesn't have to write it? No. Sometimes the Torah does write things outright, black and white, explicitly, even though they could have been taught by Kal V'chomer. Answers the Gemara, and that's all big Yesod, that's all over Shas. Hanimili answers the Gemara. That is only true. Hanimili, that rule of we still take the extra care of writing, that's only true. Heicha deleka lishnuye. When you have no other answer, when you have no other reason, when you have no answer for the question, hey, this could be inferred by Kal V'chomer, why is the Torah writing it? If there's no logical reason to explain otherwise, when our back's against the wall, we say, okay, I guess here it's one of the rare occasions that the Torah wrote something mefurash, black and white, at length, even though it could have been learned from Kal V'chomer. Whenever we can find a logical and alternative way out to explain why the Torah wrote it, to learn a new halacha, such as what Elon is being sold in this case, then we prefer not to use that weapon called, the Torah is stam writing an extra thing, even though it could be taught by Kal V'chomer. So again, the Torah usually doesn't, the Torah is very, very miserly when it comes to words. Usually the Torah opting between Kal V'chomer, choosing between Kal V'chomer and speaking outright, the Torah would use Kal V'chomer, let us figure it out ourselves through Kal V'chomer. When there is no other answer, we must say, when the Torah does write something extra, and we don't see any reason why the Torah should have written it, we must say, okay, it's one of the rare cases. We don't know why. I didn't see anything in the Rishonim very clear. Sometimes the Torah finds it necessary to speak out and accentuate and, say things in a more clear way, even though they could have been taught by Kal V'chomer. Sometimes the Torah uses that. We don't know exactly why, to be honest with you. Yes, rabbis, you and then you. Yeah. Okay. So now, if you followed the sources of, how do we know, let me ask you a question. How do you know that a woman is nikne bekesef? How do you know, bintu chasana, next week there's a big chasana, how do you know that when the chassan gives the kala something worth money, could be a ring, could be a thing, whatever, how do you know that she's mukudeshes? I've seen so far two sources. We saw the source of ki kachish isha, and we learned kicha to stay Ephraim, right? And secondly, we saw v'yotzachinam ein kesef, about a girl and also about an adult woman. We learned from that also from an adult woman. Ein kesef la'odon zeh. The master does not get any money when the 12 years old leaves his house. The mitzvah party is my farewell party. And Mashenkin, the father, or her, sometimes, when she's old enough, the other side does get the money by Kiddushin, when she leaves the father. Dog the Gemara, the Tana, so by the way, the one who brought down the drosha of Ein kesef la'odon zeh, aval yesh kesef la'odon acher, was Rav Yehuda on behalf of Rav. Amoira or Tana, please enlighten me. Rav Yehuda Omar Rav is an Amoira or Tana? Anybody? Amoira, of course. Yeah. Amoira, obviously. Second generation Amoira. Rav Yehuda quoting Rav is an Amoira. Says the Gemara, V'tana maisi lo mehocho. The Brisa brings the same halacha of what? Of a woman being acquired with money, brings it mehocho from a different source, which I just told you. The Tanya, it says in the Brisa, it says in the Torah, a man takes a woman and he has relations with her. If she doesn't find grace in his eyes, in this case, it means that he found out she was not loyal to him. She's misbehaving. Then what? He gives her a get. If he gives her a get, that is to say, there was real Kiddushin over here. Well, he would take the woman. What does take mean? To grab her? Like he gave him in? No. Says the Brisa, Ein kicha ela bekesef. The word kicha means with money, to take in halacha, Kicha, taking means taking with money. How do you know? It says, as we already saw before, Nasati kesef asad kach mimeni. When Abraham bought Maras Machpelah from Ephron, I don't know to say Ephron in biblical English, yeah? Yes, so when Avram bought the field from Ephron, he says, kach, take the money and I'll buy the field. Oh, so you see that buying with money, kach kesef, kesef is always connected to kicha, and a woman kiyikach means you take the woman with money. Okay, very, very nice. We're going to discuss later. Now, you may ask a question, how does Review define a different source from the Brisa? Later on, in the next part of the Amud, we'll see that both droshes of kicha and kesef lo dan zeh, they actually complement each other. They complement each other, they're not against each other. We need both. Let's leave that for later. The first, now the Gemara is going to play a game here of kal v'choimers. Frek the Gemara, valudinu. What does valudinu means? The Gemara now is going to ask the following question, and a small introduction will go a very long way over here. Basically, what the Gemara wants to do now is as follows. The Gemara wants to will claim now, why do you need the Torah to tell me that a woman can be acquired with money? I could have figured out myself by kal v'chomer. And usually, when kal v'chomer can be inferred, that we don't use the extra words. We only do that when you have no choice, right? Yeah? It's like when you find me eating chickpeas, you know that I'm really, 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 really hungry. Then you catch me with a chickpea in my mouth. That's really when there's no other choice whatsoever, yeah? So when we have no choice, we say mil sedase b'kal v'chomer, yeah, asel v'kro. But if you have a kal v'chomer, why do you need extra words? So now, what the Gemara is going to do now is play a game with three different. The three participants in the game are as follows. This is a good intro for you. A regular woman, how do we acquire her? We're trying to figure out. A Yevama. Yevama is not a regular woman. It's a woman whose husband died, and she already has zika, connection to her brothers-in-law, and then one of them has to consummate it. And there is a woman who's not acquired for marriage. That's an Amma. An Amma, she's acquired in other ways to work in the house. We're going to now play the game between these three and see. And according to the Gemara, what we're going to figure out, yeah, is why does the Torah have to speak out and tell me that a regular woman is nikna bekesef? We could have learned that b'kal v'chomer from the other women. Let's see how that works. Remember, there are always three players all the time. I'm not going to write a chart because you can figure it out without it. There are three players in the game. Yeah, regular Isha, Yevama, and here she comes, Amma Ha'ivriya. All these three are the players in the, who wins over who, and how do they complement each other with the kal v'chomer. Frek de heilige gemure, valodinu. What does valodinu? It means it's a kal v'chomer. That's a style of the Gemara, repeats itself throughout Shas. Valodinu means, why does the Torah have to speak it out? It's a kal v'chomer. Din means kal v'chomer in this context. It's a kal v'chomer. I can figure it out myself. Uma Amma Ivriya she'ena niknas bebia, and Amma Ivriya cannot be acquired with a bia, right? Amma Ivriya, there's no bia, How does an Amma Ivriya being acquired, by the way? With kesef and shtar, right? That's all. Kesef shtar may be chazok, even that's not true. Kesef and shtar is how an Amma Ivriya can be acquired, and also a male. A bia is not a kind of kinyan that can be koin Amma Ivriya. If the Odin has relations with her, that's not koin her. What? It's not his wife. It's not his wife. It's not his wife. I don't know you guys have this idea. Leave you out the window. No, she's not his wife. The 6-year-old who comes to work in his house is there to sponge, dishes, windows, the babies, nothing to do with relations with him. It may develop later, and it's not the issue right now, so do all of us a favor. It's complicated enough without you. Thank you. Sorry to be a little bit thing. Now, Bibia, Einu Din. So now, again, Uma Amma Ivriya she'ena niknas bebia, and Amma Ivriya cannot be acquired through bia, niknas bekesef, and clearly in Amma Ivriya it says kesef miknosoi, she can be acquired with cash. The Amma Ivriya, Zu, the star of the show, a regular woman that we're talking about now, sheniknas bebia, a regular woman. Let's now assume that the other psukim are written. We know in the Torah that a woman is acquired through bia because it says ubeolo. Right? One of the three ways to acquire a woman is through bia. If you do it b'tznius, you tell, they go into the room and it's a bia, not chas v'shalom stam to spend the night. It's a bia for Kiddushin. So if a woman who's niknes bebia, eno din shetikone bekesef, hey, again, if a bia, right, Amma Ivriya cannot be acquired with bia, but bekesef she can, so a regular woman who may be acquired through bia, don't we know she can be acquired with kesef? Classical kal v'chomer. Answers the Gemara. Here comes number 3. Yevama tuchiach. Yevama will break that ideal kal v'chomer. Yevama will show you the other way around. What? Sheniknes bebia. A Yevama, by the way, is niknes with one way only. Bia, midoraisa. Right? All they have to do midoraisa. Leave Rabbanon alone now. It's not Rabbanon level here. Midoraisa. All the Yovam and Yevama have to do is to have bia, and that's it. Now she's his wife forever, complete 100% his wife. So Yevama tuchiach. Look. Yevama is acquired with bia. Yeah, if the Yavam, the surviving brother, gives the widow money, nothing. There is Maimer with the Rabbanon. Thank you for the money. She doesn't become his wife more than the other 10 brothers who are waiting for her. Yeah. So Yevama, look at Yevama. She's acquired through bia, and she's not acquired with money. So you see that the fact that someone is acquired with bia doesn't necessarily mean that kesef is also acquired. So to our girl, or the regular woman, she may be acquired with bia, but not with money. That's why the Torah had to write to me and tell me that that there's a kesef required. Frag the Gemara, no. Mali Yevama, she can eniknes b'shtar. Tomo bezu sheniknes b'shtar. Yevama, leave Yevama out the window. Yevama cannot be acquired with a star. Yevama, you give a star to the Yevama, hare at ishti. Shtayot, amaratzis. A Yevama cannot be acquired with star. And therefore, Tomer Bezu and I saw the Ritva, both Amma and who? And a regular woman, the other two, Niknes B'shtar. Leave Yevama. Yevama is weak. She doesn't have shtar, she doesn't have kesef, she only has one way. She's out of the game. She's number class G, class H. So therefore, leave her out. So again, we're back to who? We're back to Amma. Oh, the only two surviving players are who? Amma and a woman. Oh, and you see an Amma is niknes b'shtar and bebia, bekesef and what? And bebia bekesef. A woman is not bebia and yet bekesef. A woman who's niknes bebia, kol sheken bekesef. So kesef is redundant and you don't have to write it. We can again back to square one. We can learn kal v'chomer from Amma to a woman that is niknes bekesef. If an Amma is not bebia and yes bekesef, kol sheken a woman which is bebia, kol sheken bekesef, and the pasuk is redundant, they can infer kal v'chomer that she's niknes bekesef, the regular woman. Look at the answer. Talmud loimer ki kachishi. So we need the pasuk ki kachish. What? Alama likro. Did you hear what you just said? Why do we need a pasuk? Asyala. I just proved to you that it can't be taught bekal v'chomers. Why do you bring me a pasuk? Yeah, I'm telling you ABC, then you're telling me X. What's going on here? Yeah, we just proved we don't need the pasuk because we just said that you will learn from an Amma Ivriya, right, who doesn't have bia, to a woman that has bia. If an Amma has kesef, kol sheken a woman has kesef. So why do you need a pasuk? Amar Vashi, here comes the punchline. Because I could have told you mikol dedina means, Rashi explains, from the beginning of the limud of the Kal V'chomer, as opposed to Yevama that came at a later stage of the game, the original Kal V'chomer was from Amma Ivriya. Pircha, I can break porech, I can break original Kal V'chomer you made from Amma Ivriya. Mehecha kamaisislo, where did you bring your original Kal V'chomer? Amma Ivriya. Okay, very nice. I'll now disprove and I'll show you why you cannot learn Kal V'chomer from Amma Ivriya to regular woman. Why? Male Amma Ivriya shekin yoytza bekesef, Tomer bezu she'ena yoytza bekesef, which means an Amma Ivriya does not reflect on a woman. Why? An Amma Ivriya has a way out which a woman does not have. An Amma Ivriya who did not, I'm expecting questions now, so please listen to me carefully and don't ask the question. We all know that an Amma Ivriya goes out free, scot-free by Bas Mitzvah party, 12, 2 hairs, right? Ciao bambino. What about if the Amma Ivriya is 10? Does she go out? Sometimes. If the father or other people redeem her. It says Mefurish, Fdel Nifdoso. Let's say she was bought for $5 million. She really knows how to do the sponge very well. Yeah, $5 million she was bought. And now I don't care about her age. She's just bought back. Yeah, she worked for a certain amount of time. Now, let's say $4.5 million worth is still there in the original contract. Some nice rich uncle from America comes shocked by the fact that his Israeli niece is working as an Amma Ivriya, washing the floors instead of going to Disney World. So what does he do? He brings $4.5 million. He gives it to the master, and she goes free. Yeah, with money. So the Amma Ivriya has a way out through money. Can a woman go out with money? The couple is unhappy. Yeah, 57 and a half sessions, but a psychologist and the mediator, v'chule, but she still, her blinches really are not there, and he leaves the socks everywhere. I can't take it anymore. And what? And then what? And then they want out. Ah, listen, that would be a beautiful way out. She'll just give him back the ring. What do you say? Well, unfortunately not, or fortunately not. Yeah. In other words, a woman cannot acquire herself back by giving him the money that he bought her with, right? Ah, that's a huge difference. So don't prove from Amma Ivriya. Amma Ivriya, which has the money as the way out, also has the money as the way in. But a woman whom we don't yet know if has the money on the way in, we're trying to figure it out now. A woman who definitely doesn't have the money as the way out. Why? It says because of the Sefer Krisus, Sefer Koyoso, then Dover Acher Koyoso. Only get extra out, nothing else except for death, which is kind of not nice, yeah. But yeah, that's the point. So that woman who, the regular woman who doesn't have money as the way out, possibly doesn't have money as the way in. You're learning it from an Amma Ivriya? No. Amma Ivriya already has a huge advantage over regular women when it comes to that very point of money, that she can go out with money, out with giving back the money, right? Well, the woman doesn't. And therefore we broke the Kal V'chomer, and we did not automatically know from Amma Ivriya to the woman, to the regular woman, and therefore we need the pasuk Talmud Loimar ki kach ish. Very good. Talmud Loimar ki kach ish. That's why we need to say the pasuk ki kach ish. Okay. Now, yes. Okay. Okay. Question time. Now, continues the Gemara. As I told you before, we're going to show now how the two droshes, the two limudim, work well together. The Torah has to tell me the drosha, the yotzachinam en kesef, meaning what? En kesef la'odon zeh, to the master of the Amma, yesh kesef la'odon zeh, to the father. And also the Torah has to tell me ki kachish, that what? Kicha misdeh Ephron, the money is what acquires the woman. Because you have to remember, the first pasuk of Yotzachinam, Rashi pointed out right from the beginning, talks about the father receiving the money of whom? Of the naira, but also teaches us the money is a relevant kinyan for everybody. So why do you need two psukim to tell me the same? If you look at an adult woman, you have two psukim saying the same. One, we learn from a naira that the father that gets the money, also an adult woman gets the money, and then there's another pasuk. An adult woman gets not, she gets the money. Why do you need both? Answers the Gemara. Had the Torah only told me kikach, and the kikach talks about an adult woman. Kikach is regular marriage, not necessarily naira. Havamina, I would have thought kiddushin the yav labal. I would have thought kiddushin that the husband gives to the nara. Di dahavu. Kikachishisha sounds like she's working on by herself. She's a self-reliant person. And I would say, well, Kiddushin apply to Naira. So maybe the Torah is telling me that both adults and Nairas, they get the money themselves, and the money belongs to them. As by the way, Toysa said before, talks about Naira, and it's telling me clearly, as we said before, Ein kesef lo ze, aval yesh kesef le'odoi acher. To tell me, in case she's the naira, the one who does get the money in case of kiddushin is the tatele, the ikos of rachmana v'yotzachinam. Okay, so why can't you just tell me v'yotzachinam in kesef? Because that pasuk v'yotzachinam talks about a naira, but from naira you can also infer to the big girl, to the 20 years old, to the 35 years old. Yeah, v'yotzachinam in kesef, and yesh kesef la'odoin. Who's the odoin? Until 12 and a half, the odoin is the father. From 12 and a half till 120, she's her own master. So why do you need? So that's it. Why don't you just start v'yotzachinam? Why do you have to tell me kikachishisha? I know v'yotzachinam ein kesef, yesh kesef la'odon, either her or her father. So why do you need to tell me an extra pasuk? Ava Amina, you're not going to believe your ears now. If the Torah wouldn't have written the pasuk ki yikachishisha, you know what I would have thought? Eicha deyava lo ihi ledidei v'kidashtoi. Oh, let's say a woman gets feminist. And according to Rashi, and she's Makadeshim, and she says, Zarata Mikudashli, reform. Yeah, she's got the guilt, and she says, you are Mikudash to me, right? So maybe that would have worked, because all you know from the Yotzachinam and Kesef is there is money. It doesn't say who gets the money, right? You know the money's involved, right? Maybe the Yotzachinam means there's money there given from someone to someone. maybe the woman should give it to the man and be mekadeshim havu kiddushi, and maybe those kiddushim would have worked. Therefore, the Torah tells me ki yikach ish isha, that the only active party is the husband, the chos, and the man. He's the one who is the lokeach, ki yikach ish isha, and not she is taking him. This is how Rashi learns it. I will see Tosfos inside now because Baruch Hashem we have time. Now let us see Tosfos heicha de'avel didei v'kidashtoi. Tosfos is not far from where we are in the Gemara. Tosfos heicha de'avo, more or less where we are in the Gemara. Heicha de'avel didei v'kidashtoi. Pilsh Bekuntos says Tosfos is now coming to argue on Rashi. It happens quite often. Pilsh Bekuntos shomeres sareata mikudashli. Rashi says not only she gives him the money, she also says you are mikudash to me. Yeah, you are. I'm not going to say it in English because no translation is good enough. You are mikudash to me. The kosher. Tosfos asks the question. The Torah doesn't have to exclude from such an idea. Why? Kiddushin. A man, there's no way that the word kiddushin would apply to a man. Why? When a man gets married, as we call it in English, when a man is under the chuppah and he gives her the ring, yeah, or if she gives him the ring, I don't care. A married man, midoraisa, is not usher to be with other women. Before Chemed Rabbeinu Gershom, right? What happens? He can marry 2 or 3, up to 4 wives, yeah? So the man who's mekudash is not really mekudash, right? Because, yeah, Tosfos himself, remember the Tosfos we learned at the beginning, Daf Beis Amud Beis on the top of the page, right? Kiddushin means what? You're designated and consecrated to me, just like a sheep is mekudesh to Hashem and nobody else can touch it. That's the idea of mekudeshes. But a man, it's not about rights or equal rights. It's just reality that a man is not also to other women. So in reality, he's not becoming mekudesh. So why would there be and that is halacha. There is no isser. A married man who has relations with another woman, as bad as it is, it doesn't get an isser chorus, doesn't get isser chenek, and the woman does. So you see that the woman is mekudeshes and man is not, by reality of the isurim. So when you get to the lashon mekudeshes, you can't say to a man erata mekudashli. The yesh lefarish. Therefore, Tosfos argues with Rashi. Rashi is very difficult. Rashi is difficult. Answers Tosfos arguing on Rashi. Shomeres. Oh, let's say she says the words, I am mekudesh to you. Oh, right? In other words, he gave her the tabas, egalitarian, not completely reformed. And she says, Arani mekudeshes lecho. Then that's also wrong. Maybe the one who verbally says, I am mekudesh to you, although it's factually true that she's mekudesh to you, she becomes now usher on Tam, Dik, and Her in the entire world, and she's only his, right? It's factually true. But if the initiative comes from her and she says, I'm a Kiddush to you, although the money was given from him to her, as we're going to see in Tosfos, that too is wrong, and the Kiddushin do not apply. Continues Tosfos with something that doesn't work so well with Tosfos. It's a chloimer, the Yavel Didei, the Gemara says she gives him lav dafka. It doesn't mean that. The father gets the Kiddushin and not her. In other words, also Tosfos points out that here we're talking about a girl, not about the father, and not about an adult woman. Not so clear either from the Gemara. That's another issue. Leave that alone for now. The kids, so that's what Tosfos wants to say. If the woman says, even though she gets the ring, or the money, or the whatever, and she becomes osir and mikudeshes to him, but if she's the one who verbalizes it, she says, although it's true, but it's not the way to do it. How do you know that? Oh, that we know from the words, that's why they say that today, by a lot of people, unfortunately, we live in a very, very, very mixed up generation, and people don't understand the gender role. And today they have this thing of switching the rings. You know, each one gives the other a ring, and it's very bad. Some people say, what is the, I saw a tshuva with many, many different reasons why that's also. Yeah, they say he gives her the ring, right? Then she gives him the ring. So they say, who cares? At the end of the day, they did the right thing, right? He gave her the ring, and she also gave him the ring, and she said something, whatever. It's wrong. Yeah, it's wrong because it's also very misleading because it's not egalitarian relationship here. She is mekudesh to him and not the other way around. I'm not saying it's exactly what Tosfos says, but we can definitely see a development from Tosfos into that. So to have this cross ring exchange is not what HaKadosh Baruch Hu wants. Baruch Hashem, if there is emes, we don't have to go by passing fades and fashions. Baruch Hashem. Baruch Hashem, you have granddaughter Yerushalayim. Weiter. Says the Gemara, weiter, you good? Yeah, weiter. Says the Gemara. Now, I'm not a Pesach Halacha. I'm not saying that this qualifies the marriage. If they both did it, then ask your local Orthodox Masada Kiddushin. But it's definitely not the recommended way. That much I know. Zog de'elige Gemara. Ube olo. Yeah. Now, so we know kesef, right? How do you know a woman is nikna bekesef? Kika chishisha, kicha kicha, and kesef lo desh, kesef lo denachi. We know both adult and naira are miskadish with kesef. Next, please, ube olo melamed sheniknes bebia. It says in the next word in the pasuk, that same pasuk, kika chishisha, he took her, ube olo. It says, and he had relations with her. Why do you have to say that? Like we all figure out that that's what they do after the chasana, right? After they open all the wedding gifts. Why does her have to tell me that? Melamed sheniknes bebia. It's coming to tell me that be'ola is a form of kinyan. It's a form of acquiring her by having relations with her. Having the be'ila is another form of kinyan kiddushin. Frag the Gemara again. The three girls are appearing again on the chessboard. Who is that? The regular woman, the Amma, and the Yevama. Who? Yeah. So now we're going to again ask a similar question with a similar mahalach that we had before about money. Frag the Gemara, Valodinu. Why does the Torah have to spend words, one word, and tell me that she's bought with bia? It's a kal v'chomer. I can figure it out myself. Why? Uma Yevama. Now we're starting with Yevama. Uma Yevama she'ein niknes bekesef, niknes bebia. A Yevama cannot be acquired with money, as we said before. She may be acquired with bia, right? Zu sheniknes bekesef. Now we already established there is a pasuk already that tells me that a woman is acquired with kesef. A woman is acquired with kesef and udin sheniknes bebia. All the more so, she's niknes bebia. Good kal v'chomer, classical kal v'chomer. Again, let's repeat. A Yevama is not niknes bekesef. A Yavam, no, he came from Chutzarts finally, quickly. The oldest boy comes and gives her money. Thank you for the money. I'm not your wife, yeah? The only way is bia. And so the Yevama is in a disadvantage with money, and bia she has. A woman who's niknes bekesef, because that's been established already. Of course, she's niknes bebia. Why does the Torah have to spend words? Answers the Gemara, Amma ivriya tochiach. The third girl comes to the scene. It's an Amma ivriya. Why an Amma ivriya? She niknes bekesef, they niknes bebia. Look, an Amma ivriya is acquired with money, right? And not she doesn't. Yeah, she cannot be bought with bia. So you see that not anybody that nikne bekesef can be nikne bebia. So too, our regular woman may be nikne bekesef, but not bebia. Says the Gemara, no, what are you talking about? Amma ivriya? If you have a good question now, I'll be very, very happy. The Ritva has a question here, but let's continue for now. Male Amma ivriya shen kinyan l'shum ishuss. What are you talking about? You telling me Amma ivriya is not nikne with bia? Of course not, because the Amma ivriya, the kinyan is not for issues. Amma ivriya, her kinyan is not for having relations. Yeah, that's a scandal if it happens. You know, they catch the guy with the ozeret. What are you talking about over here? Yeah, and Amma ivriya is there for what? No, what do you think? Dishes, fleshike things, milky dishes, sponja, to change the diapers, also change the nappies. Yeah, what are you talking about? And Amma ivriya, of course, is not acquired with bia because that issuss has nothing to do with her. So the fact she is not nikne bia doesn't reflect on anything. Tomer bezu shekinyono yes l'shum issuss. The shaken a regular woman, the kinyan of a woman is obviously for issuss. The couple is supposed to have issuss. Prurvu. Oh, you know, it's a mitzvah menatoiro. Yeah. Therefore, what? Don't bring Amma ivriya. She's disqualified. She's out of the game. She's out of the board game. Because you're talking about Amma ivriya and bia. Of course, she's not niknes bia. It's nothing to do with her bichlal. She's not part of the game, right? She's also not flying in the air. And therefore, what? And therefore, again, so we're back to the kal v'chomer. If Amma ivriya did not manage to disprove the kal v'chomer, who are the only two players on the chessboard right now? A woman, a regular woman, and a Yevama. And the kal v'chomer is alive and kicking. Why? If a Yevama is niknes bebia, not bekesef, and yet bebia, yes. A regular woman who has kesef, of course she's niknes bebia, and the pasuk is redundant. The pasuk tells me bia, and says the Gemara, Talmud Amar be'olo. What do you mean? You just told me we don't need the pasuk. What do you mean? That's a nice end of the story. Yeah, be'olo. Lama likro? Why do you need the pasuk be'olo? Ha'asiyalo. I just proved to you black and white that you don't need the pasuk because you can learn Yibia, an irregular woman, from Yevama, a very nice kal v'chomer. And Amma Ivriya was, she's on the bench. She's the referee kicked her out. Yeah, she's out of the game. So what are you talking about? Omar Avashi, thank you for your patience. Omar Avashi, Mishum Dika Lememar. Yeah, here comes what I told you before, because I could say otherwise. Mikar Dadina Pircha. As we said before, your original source of Kal V'chomer, which in this case was from Yevama, I can Pircha, I can smash that. Mecha Kamais Isla, Yevama, your original Kal V'chomer to teach me that a regular woman is Nikna Bia was based on Yevama, I'm going to shake up the basis of your entire argument. Why? Mali Yevama shekin zkuka v'oimedes Ellen. Mali Yevama shekin zkuka v'oimedes. Tomer bezu she'en zkuka v'oimedes. You're telling me that a Yevama is nikna b'bia even though there's no money? All the more so, a regular woman for sure should have bia. No. A Yevama is much weaker and needs much less than a regular woman. A Yevama is zkuka v'oimedes. Zkuka in this context doesn't mean needy. Zkuka means she is connected. A Yevama, as I told you before, once her husband died, or some say even once her husband married her years ago, potentially every married woman without children, right? If her husband dies, what's going to happen? Without anything happening, it's like Yerusha. It happens by itself. Automatically, he closes his eyes, strach, right away, the zika between her and all her 10 brothers-in-law. One of them has to consummate it and finish off the job by doing bia only. For that bia helps. To just finish off the existing matter, to give me the finishing touch, for that bia is good enough for Yevama. A regular woman, she has no connection to him. A boy and a girl, he's from South Africa, she's from Ramat Beit Shemesh. They just met in a shidduch, all very nice. They're not connected in any way of issuss whatsoever, right? And even if they had relations before Beznus, which is not the case over here, even doesn't make a difference. There's no zika, there's no halachic Kiddushin connection. They're starting from zero, the Kiddushin connection. And therefore what? Since the girl is not zkuka v'oimedes, I didn't know bia works. For that level, to do the entire job from 0 to 100, from A to Z, to create kesher and everything, to create Kiddushin, for that, whenever so the bia does that, and Amma, leave her alone. Bia has nothing to do with her. Yevama has bia, thank you, because she needs very little. But for a woman who needs the entire job to be done, who says bia works, that's why I need to be'olo. We have enough time to go now be'iyun and if somebody wants to be very, very, very nice, I'll say the ritzvah with my own words. Yeah, time for questions and also time for me to tell you the ritzvah. If you figure out there's something that doesn't make sense there in the page, from the top of the page to the bottom of the page regarding Amma and Bia, there's something inconsistent, and the winner is yes. Depends what you will. No, it's not the question. There's a steer in the actual Gemara. Question. If you noticed, the Gemara brought the idea of Amma Ivriya with Bia twice in our page. At the beginning, we had a whole series of questions regarding how do you know a woman is acquired with kesef, of a chomer in a hair, right? And then we had another one regarding a woman's Bia. We also played the game of what? Of kal v'chomers, right? At the end of the day, we emerged very nice from both, and both kesef and Bia required psukim. At the beginning of the Gemara, we brought down Amma Ivriya regarding Bia, yeah? And we said, just like Amma Ivriya, who has what? Who has no Bia, but has kesef, such kind of woman who has Bia should have kesef. At that point, the Gemara didn't go crazy. The Gemara at that point didn't ask, wow, Amma Ivriya has nothing to do with Bia. The Gemara didn't ask that. Only later on, at the second part of the sugya, when we brought Amma Ivriya with Bia regarding Bia, then we said, oh, what are you talking about? Amma Ivriya has nothing to do with Bia. Why? Why did the Gemara ask it right at the beginning? At the beginning of the page, we had a whole sugya, a whole mini sugya, which ended up with a conclusion. And the Gemara was very smug and happy and good and cool about it. The Gemara wasn't bothered there about the fact that Amma Ivriya has nothing to do with Bia. Why? Asks the Ritva. And I was so happy that Baruch Hashem was mechavan to the Ritva. You hear the question? What happened then? What happened to the interviewers when, yeah, why don't they interview the other side, as you said? Yeah. So, what was Kesef? Oh, the Ritva says, I think similar to you. The Ritva says, even without a Kal V'chomer, even if you leave we didn't really need a Kal V'chomer at the beginning. We could have done a Binyan Av. The Kal V'chomer was only to add flavor to the story. In other words, we could have just learned what's Binyan Av. Regular comparison. We see an Amma Ivriya as bought with Kesef. Yes, Amma Ivriya is compared to women for all kinds of things, right? And I would say a woman too should be Nikne Bekesef. There, the idea of Bia wasn't so essential. So we sort of glitched over. Yeah. Mashenkin over here, at the end of the Sugya, here, the fact that Amma Ivriya is not Nikna Bebia was a way to shatter another Kal V'chomer, was a way to break the Kal V'chomer between Yevama and a woman. Then we say, no, now you are serious about Amma Ivriya with Bia, not being Nikna Bebia? You want to break the Kal V'chomer of Yevama? Are you really being serious? Now the Gemara gets all upset and says, Ad Kan. It's not true to bring Bia and an Amma Ivriya at the same page. You missed something important. Yeah. Again, I'll repeat for our beautiful people over here again. At the beginning of the page, the Gemara was not bothered by the fact that Amma Ivriya has nothing to do with Bia, because their Bia was not so essential. That we could have left Bia out of the window and say like this: look, an Amma Ivriya is Nikne Bekesef, we misye. Shall a woman be Nikne Bekesef? Why not? We see it's a valid kinyan for people. This is for washing the floor, and this is for issues and heilige things. The center. At the end of the day, what? Let's compare. We brought Bia as an extra chizuk. Look, by her there isn't even Bia, and by her there is. That's kilu to show an extra zach, but it's not. It wasn't based on the Bia of the Amma. So the Gemara sort of turned a blind eye and continued. Here at the end of the page, what happens? This is, by the way, my edition on the Ritva. At the end of the page, the Gemara gets upset and says, "I can't take it anymore." So at the end of the page, we wanted to bring a Kal V'chomer regarding Bia itself. Bia was the star of the show. And we wanted to bring Kal V'chomer from Yevama to who? To a woman. We wanted to break the Kal V'chomer with the fact that the Amma has no Bia and has Kesef. That was, their Bia was essential. That the fact that Amma Bia has no Bia was essential in order to break the Kal V'chomer, to break the relationship between Yevama and Anisha. Then the Gemara says, Ad Kan, I can't take these things anymore, because you're really, really building a logical thing on the fact that the Amma has no Bia. That, my dear friend, is not true. That was the Iyun point for the day with the Ritva. You're welcome to see the Ritva for yourselves if you have time, and if you don't have time also, you can watch it. And tomorrow we're going to Mirza Hashem, look at Dafei Amud Aleph and learn it very well, Be'ezer Hashem. And by tomorrow, Mashiach should be a Be'ezer Hashem. We need Yeshua very, very soon. Thank you to everybody over here in Avos Shalom. Beautiful people are participating so nicely and listening. Thank you to our YouTube channel. We have 90 people on YouTube channel. Ken Yerbu, yes, subscribe, yeah, people of whatever, all types. And what else? For any time. Thank you to all our people who view us on Anytime. Atzlocha uvrocha. Thank you.